Hey, Connecticut. Let's talk about the biggest prejudice in the state. And that'll be easy because are so brazen about it, they don't have a problem shoving these things down your throat. But if you look on the screen, Chief Justice Chase Rogers put the issue squarely and succinctly. Pro se litigants, which I am, clog up the court system. Cases are delayed and lengthened, creating frustration for everyone. Litigants with lawyers are better represented in court, which makes a significant issue. Access to justice in our courts simply should not be a privilege offered to some, but a basic right. What I'm saying is Justice Chase Rogers has a 45-minute video telling judges to screw pro se litigants. So, 250 cases against Bernie Madoff were dismissed because Chase Rogers instructed 25 judges at the Stanford Superior Court not to let the litigant get anywhere. No discovery, no depositions, nothing. No witnesses, no testimony. So here we go. I'm involved in 2 criminal court cases where I filed an appearance in both, and I'm not allowed to speak in a criminal lawsuit, criminal case. Okay? There's a gentleman named Tor Moss in Bridgeport who had 2 houses stolen from him. One he inherited from his mother. He wasn't allowed to pay his mother's water bill, okay, because it was in probate. They wouldn't accept the money. Now, we're told that the tax assessor in Bridgeport takes bribes. Wonderful. And Tor Moss lost that house due to the fact that he could not litigate on behalf of the house he was inheriting from his dead mother. Now, then he lost his father's house. Then they attacked him, arrested him, and he can't represent himself in the criminal case. So when you go down the list here, folks, this is happening everywhere. In Norwalk, there's multiple cases that are disturbing. Andrew Pritchard lost his house, had no mortgage. They stole it. Okay? The tax assessor has committed fraud. And the list goes on and on. There are cases in Stamford where the judge involved was a patient of a doctor who robbed the patient through communications with other judges. A bribe was made. A house was foreclosed upon. A $3.5 million home stolen. The judge blocked the transcripts. Oh, sorry, there'll be no evidence for you. You're representing yourself. What happens now? Well, there's a video of Chase Rogers, who I complained about, to the Judicial Review Council, okay? A separate complaint form must be submitted with each court judge against, now I filed a complaint against 60 judges, okay? 60 complaints against 60 judges. Each complaint must contain the full name of the judge, the name of the docket number and the case before the judge, how the conduct occurred. This is Judith Rossi, 2018, okay? She should be in jail for what she's doing. I complained about murder, okay? The case was dismissed by the Judicial Review Council. I complained that Judge Kremrich dismissed a murder case. So the next case that Hearst sued me for, I sued Hearst. Hearst committed fraud, God knows how many times. Then they slandered us. Then the judge, Kremrich, who dismissed the Barrier murder, I wrote a complaint about that the kid was tasered to death and murdered in a snuff video. So the judge never heard it. I complained that a murder occurred and the snuff video was covered up by the judge. So the judge that dismissed the case was assigned to other cases after I filed a complaint against him, and he is ruling against us. Really? So in other words, Hearst rigged an election with Ted Bromley for U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal. Hearst rigged an election for U.S. Senator Blumenthal. Judge Kremrich had a complaint lodged against him by me, so they assigned the case to him, and he ruled against me again. These guys are ruling against pro se litigators. Let's get back to the topic at hand. Because Chase Rogers, the Chief Justice of the state of Connecticut, told them to. They said, hey, pro se litigators are clogging up the docket. Let's expedite that. So when you see what they did that's related to this case, here's her remarks. Okay, I can show you that. You can look on the screen if you don't mind. Here we go. Paragraph 21, why Chase Rogers should be disbarred. Okay, the foreclosure mills assist them in foreclosing, and they're owned by the judges, and BlackRock owns the pension fund of the judges, and BlackRock owns the foreclosure mills that the judges rule upon. Here, the court in Sims versus Seaman ruled that the attorney or attorney firm that commits fraud against a third party is immune from suit. Okay? There's many other very important paragraphs in these complaints. But what I'm saying is the state legislature gave the right to the judges to own the foreclosure mills, and then they made a law saying that if the attorney robs the client, the attorney is immune. So now we have 6,000 of these cases. If you look at McCalla-Raymer, they backdated 15,000 foreclosure cases, filed no appearance in many. That case I was talking about, Andrew Pritchard's house, has no appearance from Hunt Liebert. Has no appearance from McCalla-Raymer. And the judges allow the fraud by paragraph 21. Suffice to say, counsel commits fraud against a third party is immune from suit. It is better to make the rule of law so large that an innocent counsel shall never be troubled, although it's making so large counsel are included who have been guilty of misconduct. It is better to leave undressed the wrongs done by dishonest officers. That is the language in the law. Now, if you go back and read other parts, since the creation of the Foreclosure BenchBar Committee, the foreclosure mill attorneys who were charged and eventually settled for running illegal kickbacks, indictments, double billing schemes have been able to make the rule changes to the Connecticut practice book. Correct. Go back and read the cases, read the minutes. Judge Mintz stole a blind lady's home, okay? Stole her equity, was the creator of the Bar Foreclosure Committee. Look on the list here. Richard Liebert, Hunt Liebert, is the guy stealing the homes. Look at the list. Honorable Richard Robinson is the guy stealing the homes. There are, look here. Oh, we have the Bendet problem. We have the Cazenovia Creek problem. We have the BenchBar problem. We have the judges. Here we go. The amendments to the Judicial Code of Conduct. A judge should take or initiate appropriate disciplinary measures against a judge or a lawyer for unprofessional conduct to which the judge may become aware. Okay. Robo-signing, created by Richard Blumenthal, has created an agenda. Look here, committee member, Walter Spader. Walter Spader had so many misconduct cases in Bridgeport, okay, that he got kicked out and sent to Norwalk. Got kicked out of Norwalk, got sent to Stamford. Got kicked out of Stamford, is now in New Haven, stealing properties for the BenchBar. They built in their own immunity, and the state legislature allowed Chase Rogers say, the problem here is people representing themselves. So what I'm saying is, there are criminal conduct cases. There's a guy in the Bridgeport court right now, 11 false arrests. They stole 5 of his bonds. There's another guy in the criminal court case in Stamford. They stole his house. They arrested him falsely, saying he had a weapon. They say he criminally trespassed. They say I criminally trespassed in the Bridgeport court at my own hearing I was required to go to. That is Judge Reed. What else do you need to know? Oh, there's a lot. What I'm saying is the BenchBar was created by the state legislature. Annually, they go in front of the legislature to renew these judges' contracts. And annually, the judges say, oh, I'm totally fair to pro se litigators who are arrested, falsely charged, robbed. They stole $50 million from me. $50 million. 15 bank accounts looted. And the judge has immunity for stealing $50 million. For Congressman Jim Himes. Bank America, Wells Fargo, mortgage fraud, BenchBar, Bendet and McHugh. Now here we go. Bendet's on the council. Judah Epstein. Let's talk about him. Judah Epstein is trying to force, through bribery, the oversight of all contracts. In other words, the backlog of corporate cases in the Stamford Superior Court is so high due to COVID, they closed the court in March of 2020. They want to pay the senators on the judiciary, Matt Blumenthal. Who's on the judiciary? I'm not going to say. But there is a video of Chase Rogers, which I'm going to share, where she says people who represent themselves have no rights, and you should not give them the right to 911 calls in a court case where cops were called to a scene. They never responded in 2.5 hours. The informant had an axe, tried to kill a homeowner. In 3 different court cases, 31 911 calls were denied. Judge Provader, who worked for Malloy, who was a defendant in the case against that plaintiff, who mentioned there were 500,000 financial crimes. FST CV 14 501 4296. Fact, Jacobs had a case where a cop tried to kill a homeowner. Hid in the bushes, came out, pointed a gun to their head. And now this is currently happening in a federal trial with Judge Meyer. 3 plaintiffs threatened at gunpoint. Police complaints filed. Judicial requests for protective orders, 8 of them are denied. 8 protective orders are denied. And the gunman is claiming he bought the judges. The gunman is claiming he bought the judges. So what's going on with the BenchBar? The judge has immunity for criminal acts stealing homes. This has happened with Judge Tierney countless times. Countless times. This is occurring because BenchBar gave the authority and ownership of the mortgage mills to the judges. Drive-by fees, no problem. EMAP fraud, no problem. Look at the Tierney cases. Judge Tierney stole my house. Why? 28 of checks I wrote got cashed by a third party. I never got credit for the money that was stolen. Who stole the money? Wells Fargo's subsidiary, BSI Financial. Wells Fargo stole my house. Folks, what I'm saying is, they set up a system for McCalla Raymer to steal any house they want to by backdating documents, submitting fictitious documents, and never filing an appearance. So the law firm has immunity for robbing you, and so does the judge. Am I clear? It's a complicated topic, but I just wanted to share that. Because where we're going, I'm saying I'm running for U.S. Senate. I'll never win. But you know what? I've successfully put the chief state's attorney behind bars. Yes, I have. And there's more to come, because you haven't read the cases that I have filed. You should read the federal case that I have filed. Torture, chipping, cancer, forced cancer, radiation. And now that the WHO has ruled that 5G is carcinogenic, class 1 carcinogen, okay? Your child becomes autistic with long-term radiation, okay? You don't get cancer till later. What if your autistic child gets cancer later? Because A, Connecticut made them autistic, B, made that autistic child infertile, and C, gave them cancer years later. That's what's going on in Connecticut. And they have immunity for doing that to you. So, if you have an autistic, cancerous, or infertile child, or if they change the genome by messing with your DNA, by giving you a forced vaccination mRNA cocktail while being radiated and changing your genome. By the way, in 2000, cancer was cured. There was a company that made a cocktail that if you drank it, it would block your RNA transfer, your transfer RNA, from duplicating a gene defect. So in other words, gene pattern blindness was cured way back when. But it never got a patent because of the interference of the Securities Exchange Commission, FINRA, and NASDAQ through Jim Himes and other people. But what is going on right now in Connecticut with the immunity of the judge and the lawyer stealing your home through the BenchBar, through McCalla Raymer, Judge Spader, and the cases that you are not aware of, they are stealing thousands of homes. And it's on the judiciary. It's on Matt Blumenthal. It's on the others. Look at the Alex Jones trial. Not allowed to put on a defense by Judge Bellis. Look at, for example, look at this. It's remarkable. Let me take myself off. Have you seen this? Have you seen the Sandy Hook Advisory Commission?
That we include dates wherever dates are available.
Raises the interesting question of why we didn't all see it, but I agree with David Schoenfeld's suggestion to reverse the order of these quotes. I think it feels so much.
You want to see 20 people pat themselves on the back?
At the end, and I think that Dennis's suggestion.
UConn psychiatry professor. He never mentions that Adam Lanza was being treated at Yale. Never.
That the
amendments to make sure that things are
Governor's nonprofit liaison.
Some of it included things like,
let me tell you.
When we mention certain statutes, that we include the name.
The nonprofits that are rigging the elections for the state of Connecticut, Seidel, CISA, SEER, these are all criminal enterprises, okay? And she is in charge of the Sandy Hook Advisory Commission. Hold on a second. Watch this guy speak.
Thank you so much for all the work you put in. This is an extraordinary document.
It's an extraordinary document.
And it could not have happened without the various types of...
And so while it's
listen to this guy.
Something to acknowledge, it's a benchmark that we've met. There are many more benchmarks. There are many more milestones that the town of Newtown, the families, the teachers in this country are going to have to go through over the next several years. So while we celebrate our work today, I hope we'll remember that there's a lot more work to be done coming forward.
You should watch these people
of this
speak.
kind of disaster. Still very personally meaningful, and I'm proud that as a group, I think each and every time that we were up against a difficult subject, we said what we thought had to be said. We've recommended what we thought had to be recommended.
I'll tell you. Having watched this document, these 20 people speak, the Governor's Sandy Hook Advisory Commission, these are crimes against humanity, folks. What the state has done here, top to bottom, they put the foxes in charge of the hen house. They paid themselves to rob you. And all these people on that video did that to take away your Second Amendment. And who's in charge of mind control? Who's in charge of what happened? I'm not saying that there aren't victims here. This is a fraud. That's what that is. And the judges have immunity from ruling on it. And the attorneys have immunity for perpetrating the fraud.